having that mindset shift of trying to keep all your intellectual property to yourself, and switching to giving it out to people. To me, as a specialist in Facebook advertising, social media marketing, for you with mobile filmmaking and storytelling, because it's our 9 to 5 and it's all we do, we're essentially good enough to keep evolving our IP, and then therefore people continue to see us as the professionals and the experts. But I feel like it's a very old school mentality to try to keep all of your best knowledge to yourself, because in this day and age, content marketing is becoming increasingly important to cut through the noise. And I think really to be competitive in this day and age, you need to be generous in the knowledge that you're sharing. So,
and you raise a really good point, because so many people are so protective of their IP. And I mean, you look at someone like Elon Musk is probably a great example of someone who's very generous with his IP. Nobody has ever made a killer business by being the world's greatest secret.
Yeah.
You might think you're doing the right thing, but unless you open your concept and your thinking up to the world, you're never going to grow yourself.
Yeah.
And no one's ever going to see the value that you can bring to what they do.
Yeah.
So I think exactly, being generous with your wisdom and probably oversharing.
Yeah.
Is never going to do you any harm, because people are always going to see that there's going to be immense value in what you offer. And I think that's the probably one of the greatest ways that people can make stories and make short video content for their brand is to think about 4 or 5 things that's particular to their field of expertise that they could just instantly jump in front of a camera and start talking about and being generous with their wisdom on. And if they just entertain that notion and see the response that they get by sharing that stuff online, there'll be an instant convert into making more of that. And it's the best and easiest content to make, because it's stuff off your bat. You don't have to write a script for it. It's a thing that's already part of what your process is and what you do, and you're most passionate about. So it's the stuff that rolls off the tongue the easiest, and that's the stuff that people are going to take away and believe.
What's the number one piece of advice you would have given yourself if you went back and you first picked up your phone and you started storytelling?
It's interesting. This one changes all the time, mind you, because I get asked this question a lot. I reckon the number one bit of advice I would give to a younger me that's starting in this space would be probably 2 things. To have started sooner.
Okay.
I think I procrastinated a lot.
Yeah.
And even though I think I was a relatively kind of early adopter in this space, I don't quite think I was early. I think there would have been even more opportunity if I'd started earlier. And secondly, is don't try and be perfect. Like, understand the fact that perfection comes with practice. And so when you start, it's going to be raw and it's going to be basic, but make that work to your strengths. So like we said before about creating passion pieces, like the hardest bit of content to make is your first bit of content. And for anyone that's, we're all used to now picking up a phone and taking a selfie and sharing our world digitally in a social sense. When it comes to a brand, we tend to throw this new layer of difficulty in, where we go like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm talking about business now, so I've got to really, hang on, I've got to think about what I'm going to say, and I've got to look perfect.
Kind of micromanage it a bit.
We've got to have 16 lights around here and all that sort of stuff. Whereas really the biggest stumbling block is not that. The stumbling block is pressing the red button and saying, I'm going to start with what I know and what I can talk about well. And it's not going to be perfect. The lighting's not going to be perfect. The sound may not even be ideal and perfect, but I'm going to get started. And the sooner you can kick yourself out of that level of procrastination. And if you're watching this and you've not tried making content yourself, the biggest hurdle is the first bit of content you make. Just get that out of the way. It's like being forever scared of the dentist and never going to the dentist. And then you go to the dentist and it's like all they do is a clean, and they're like, hey, I don't know how you've survived 22 years without going to the dentist, but you're lucky. And then you go like, you know what, this is great, I'm coming back in 6 months' time. Book me in. So it's just peeling back the Band-Aid and going, okay, I've done that now. I've got the first one out of the way. And then the next one's going to be twice as good again. And exponential. And
for me, I know with my experience when I just started doing this more recently, I'd take 4 or 5 takes of the same thing. and then there'd be one in there that I'd be like, you know what, that's actually not too bad. I think, you know, with a little bit of editing, I can make that fly. And then you move on to the next one, and then it might only be 3 takes, and then the next one 2 takes, and then before you know it, you're really starting to turn around content. Part of it's a confidence thing, you know. You can, the more you do it, you'll stop thinking about how you're executing it, and you'll be focused more on the message that you're trying to give. And as I said, if you know your stuff, then it really does start to just roll off the tongue.
How do you process? I mean, think about when, you know, we first started sending emails. Like, it was awkward communication. It was like, what do I use this typed format for?
I've always known.
You're always I'm showing my age now, well and truly. But, you know, like, anything that's kind of new in a process is going to be awkward and cumbersome. But we make it awkward and cumbersome. Yeah. So what you're doing is perfect. Like, you're traveling around with a little kit that fits in a tiny bag that costs less than $200 worth of accessories in it, and you're a broadcaster. Like, you can create content and pump it out, you know, which is incredible. It costs you your time and your wisdom and your vanity. You know, like, you're putting yourself up there.
Yeah, true. Now, where can our audience learn more about you? How can they follow you? I know that you push out some really cool content around, you know, the technical elements, you know, new technologies. How can people follow you and be a part of the movement that you're trying to create here with film breaking?
Cool. There's probably 3 ways.
Great.
So that's probably going to complicate things, but stick with us.
Yeah.
So the 3 ways to stay in touch with what we do. First of all, if you look up We Are Treehouse on social.
Okay.
On Facebook, Instagram. So We Are Treehouse is Treehouse's social face.
Yeah.
And that's where you can see all of the commercial productions and all the short film sort of content that we make. So you can see the sort of stuff that we tell as stories.
Great.
If you want to pick up, if you're a beginner point in the whole conversation of what do I do with my smartphone, how can I resource it as a storytelling and a video production tool, look up Pocket Film Academy.
Okay.
And there's a lot of free tips and hints videos and accessory information, all that sort of stuff on there to help people get started with telling stories. If you're ready for the next step, if you've been mucking around with your smartphone for a while and you think you know how to shoot a bit of a video and you're up to buying some more, you know, better microphones, up your skills base basically. Make sure you check out our Film Breaker movement on Facebook. It's only on Facebook, so at Film Breaker. And that's where we have longer format tutorial videos. I think we've uploaded almost 2 hours of free tutorial content already. So you can see, you know, 20-minute video on lenses for smartphones, microphone choices, stability, lighting, all that sort of stuff. It's all free. We pump that up there. What we're trying to create in the Film Breaker movement is a global movement of people that are empowered with smartphone production. Forget about Hollywood. Forget about all the people that say you're going to wait, you know, 5 or 10 years to make your breakout story. We're all about saying you can start today with what you got in your pocket and that great idea you got in your head. And the Film Breaker movement celebrates that.
And so it's perfect having you champion that, because that's what you've done several times. You know, you've whipped out your phone, you've captured a story, and you've taken out international awards. So, mate, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks,
and I hope you guys found value with this. If you have any questions, as always, in all my videos, please comment below, and either Jason or myself will get back to you. And yeah, thanks for joining us.